Heard not in Syria or Iraq, but in a mosque in Manchester.
It's wrong, it's evil, it shouldn't be happening in Manchester.
Mustafa Graf, these are your words. You must do jihad in Allah's path.
Tonight, we confront the imam in charge and reveal his connections to the Manchester bomber Salman Abedi.
Sadly, I wouldn't be surprised if Salman Abedi's horrific suicide bombing was partly inspired by this sermon.
Brothers and sisters, it is time to act, not only to talk.
This audio was obtained by the BBC, a recording of Friday prayers inside Didsbury Mosque in December 2016. The same mosque where Salman Abedi and his family would pray.
We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant the mujahideen, our brothers and sisters right now in Halab and Syria and Iraq, to grant them victory.
We played the sermon in full to 2 Islamic scholars.
Lots of brothers stayed behind, unfortunately. They love Islam and Muslims, but they do nothing for the support of their brothers and sisters.
The jihad he's referring to here is actually being on the battlefield. There's no ifs and buts in this.
From the context and the way these texts are used, it's very clearly referring to military jihad, to armed jihad.
The whole world is watching.
The sermon focused on people suffering in Syria. It included an appeal for donations and also this.
The whole world, including Europe, America, what's so-called the civilized world, they know that Iran, Russia, and the militias are killing humans in Syria. And they do nothing. Well, in fact, they help the Russians and the Iranians and others, the militias, to kill Muslims over there.
Oh dear, so... dear, oh dear. So he's reiterated the call not only to stop living a normal life, do something drastic, but to be with the small group of true, sincere Muslims.
He's giving them the narrative of them against us. He is psychologically and practically brainwashing young people into either travelling or to do something, to take action.
We can't be sure where Salman Abedi was on the day of the sermon, but we've been told that 10 days after, he bought a ticket for the Ariana Grande concert.
If Abedi was in this congregation, I fear that this sermon may well have contributed to his resolve to punish civilians in Britain for somehow being complicit in the murder of Muslims in Syria.
Mustafa Graf refused to be interviewed.
Mustafa, Ed from BBC News.
But we wanted to know why he gave the sermon inside the mosque.
Were you trying to incite violence? Were you calling for armed jihad?
No, never did that.
Would you want to take a look at these words? These are your words. Mustafa Graf, can we talk?
After the Manchester bomb, he condemned the attack. Off camera, he denied preaching Islamist extremism.
Mustafa Graf, these are your words. You must do jihad in Allah's path.
This is what we know about the Manchester imam. In 2011, he travelled from Didsbury Mosque to the front line during the Libyan revolution. In this interview, Mustafa Graf talks about waiting for orders to attack.
All these criminal acts.
And here he is back home in Manchester in 2015. He's a leader of this group, demonstrating about the conflict in Libya.
Are causing chaos in Libya.
Months later, here's the same group in London. Graf isn't there, but watch as the camera moves right. Wearing a red t-shirt, smiling. The Manchester bomber, Salman Abedi. Nearly 2 years before he'd murder 22 people. We shared our investigation with Martin Hibbert. He and his daughter were closest to Salman Abedi when his bomb exploded.
Allah is watchful over what you do.
He wanted to listen to Mustafa Graf's sermon.
Yeah, I'm speechless in a way. That it's going on kind of 30 minutes away from here. You know, that this was, you know, if he was in that room that day, a week before Christmas. You know, a week later I was, you know, or my daughter was unwrapping a surprise Ariana Grande ticket.
This was Martin and his daughter Eve hours before the concert.
She's been left severely brain damaged. She can't eat, she can't speak, she can't move the left side.
If you could go and see this imam,
Yeah.
what would you say to him?
God. I'd probably take him round to see Eve. I don't think I'd need to say anything, really.
Our investigation heard at least 5 men who attended Didsbury Mosque either travelled to Syria or have been jailed for supporting so-called Islamic State. Trustees of the mosque deny this.
Could we come inside?
They said Mustafa Graf's sermon was highlighting the plight of Syrians. His use of the words jihad and mujahideen have been misinterpreted, and they don't tolerate extremist preaching. Ed Thomas, BBC News, Manchester.
And some more now on the death of Aretha Franklin, which has been announced today at the age of 76. We've had tributes coming in all the time, but